Hello, I'm Rachel, a 35-year-old mum to a 3-year-old boy, James, and an 8-week-old baby, Alba. I'm joined here by my co host today, Alba, who is 10 weeks old now, actually. And this is episode 1 of 10,000 Steps with Baby, um, the leap from 1 to 2. So I should start by explaining that the reason I started this podcast was, well, there was two reasons really. One was that for my son, the only way he would go to sleep was if I walked him around constantly in the pram. It was the only way he would go to sleep. And I had to keep up a brisk trot. I couldn't stop for a coffee. I couldn't slow down at all. And I listened to hundreds of podcasts. I listened to lots of Audible books, but it was costing me a small fortune. I called my mum every day until she was sick to the back teeth of me. And while I was listening to all these podcasts, I was trying to find one that was talking about what I was going through at the time, my life of nappies and breastfeeding and baby not sleeping and leaps and pelvic floor exercises. And what I could find really was quite different. It was people experiencing motherhood in a very different way, talking about how they were continuing to honor their bodies by making sure they committed to their 5 a.m. Pilates class. And, I couldn't commit to not falling asleep on the carpet at 2 p.m. So we were just having very different experiences. And I wanted to listen to someone who was going through something that was a bit more like what I was going through. So this is some rambling from someone who's very sleep deprived, going through it all at the moment. As promised in my intro episode, this is not going to be a work of art or even edited. It might not make a lot of sense, but I hope someone out there might relate. Alba was supposed to be sleeping, but she just woke up after a 5-minute nap, so she's joining us too today. So episode 1 of maybe 1, we'll see how this goes, going from 1 to 2. So first off, pregnancy with a toddler. Wow, that is something else. With my first pregnancy, I had quite an easy pregnancy really. I couldn't complain. I didn't feel that bad, but I still had all the usual. I was tired. I felt a bit sick. But when you don't have any kids and you're tired and you feel sick, you can just go to bed. That's a possibility. You can stay in bed at the weekend. You can go to bed at 7 o'clock at night if that's what you need to do. And when you have a toddler, my son was 2 when I was pregnant with Alba, you don't get any of that. You're still waking up all night because he wasn't sleeping through the night then, he still isn't now. Your Saturdays are spent running around parks or soft plays, and you're still being used as a human trampoline a lot of the time. So it's pretty grim. Also, when you're sick, you're feeling you want to have all those sort of weird beige foods, you have to then share it with your toddler. And then when you're getting towards the end of your pregnancy, you have to try and work out what you're going to do with your kid when the time comes. And obviously, you have no idea when that's going to be. Is it going to be, 9 in the morning? Is it going to be in the middle of the night? For us, we didn't have any family close by. Jack's parents, my husband, they are in Nottingham. My family's in Glasgow, so about 2.5 and 4 hours away, respectively. So we were trying to come up with an idea of what we would do when I went into labour and how we were going to get some help. And we ended up having to have this sort of 10-person list of emergency contacts of family, friends, and someone from nursery that we could come and call on if we needed to go all of a sudden. So that was a stress in itself. And then, of course, on the day that I actually went into labour, I then had to go through the early experiences of labour, plus looking after a toddler. And the stars were aligned for me that day. And he was actually in a really good mood, and I didn't have to wrestle him into pajamas, and it was fine. So, but there was a bittersweetness of like going to, when you go into early labour and you're putting your child to sleep, no matter what age, but knowing that when you come back or when you next see them, you're going to have a baby with you. And, that's both a blessing for them, and something that's hopefully going to be a really positive impact in their lives. But also, you're going to change their whole world around as well. So saying goodbye to him on that night was quite difficult. But saying that the next morning, or actually it was the day after for us, it was lovely getting to come back with baby and introducing them, and we've got that recorded, and that was lovely. So yeah, pregnancy with other children, not for the faint-hearted. If you're going through that at the moment, then hats off to you. That is not easy. I hope you're getting some rest. I hope you're surviving. And going from 1 to 2, so I mean, yeah, I heard mixed things from people when I asked how others had found it. I guess people are always sometimes scared to tell you the truth, and what's the point of that as well? Sometimes it's better not to know what's coming. But I mean, I'll talk about the challenges first. So initially, yeah, recovering post baby with another kid. Yeah, I mean, it's a continuation of what I said about being pregnant with a toddler, but you've just had a baby, you ran a marathon, you're bleeding, everything's sore. Maybe you've had a C-section and you've got, the scar, your wound is still healing. And yet you don't get to stop. You don't get to stay in bed. Your other kid, depending on their age, they're making you get up. They're making you do things, and you can't stop for them. So, yeah, wow, I wish I'd sort of had more warning about what that was like. And then secondly, there's the guilt. Your first child, or if it is your first, maybe you've had a couple, but they were used to getting a certain amount of your time. If you've only had one child, then they're used to having all of your time, and then suddenly there's someone else who's demanding a lot of the attention, and you feel so guilty about that. And I felt guilty, both ways. I felt when I was spending time with my toddler, I felt like I was ignoring the baby, and when I was spending time with the baby, I felt, that I was not, felt so guilty about the change to James's life, and about how he didn't suddenly have me all the time focusing on him. And that was really hard to deal with. I still feel like that at the moment. I've got no idea how that gets better. I'm going to guess that it probably doesn't. And yeah, number 3, I guess, similar, but you have to split yourself in two. Especially when my husband went back to work and I had 2 of them on my own. It felt like they both needed me at exactly the same time. And trying to feed the baby and keep everyone safe, and still feeling like they were getting my attention. I just wanted to be able to split myself into 2 people, maybe even 3. I think that would have been about enough. 4 was just the organization. I mean, I probably found this one of the hardest things, to be honest, was just how you cope with getting everyone into the car by yourself, or doing the school run. Like, okay, so do you need a sling or a double pram or a double whatever situation, you need the 2 car seats, or some way of getting both in and out the car without someone getting run over. You have to be able to pack all the things you need, all the different, the nappies, the muslins, the wipes, the snacks for the older kids. It's a lot to think about, especially when you're not running on like a lot of sleep. And yeah, going back to the beginning, I mean, I say this is in the challenges section, but I mean, for the past year, my son's been out of nappies, and now we've had to go back to doing all the nappies again. Our bin is just full of them. And yeah, in some ways it's a good thing, because yeah, you're getting to go back to the beginning, but this time knowing so much more. So in a way, that's a lot easier, and I'm so much more relaxed, because I just know about a million things more than I did with my son, and I know what to worry about and what not to worry about, which is 99.9% of things. But yeah, it's a slightly odd feeling doing it all again a second time around. And then you lose your free time. I thought I had no free time when I was working and I had my son. It turns out I had loads of free time. My husband was around, so there was 2 of us and 1 kid. So we could give him to the other one, and I could go have a bath or go for a run or do what I wanted. But I had free time. Now I had no time. I didn't appreciate that. I know. Look at this little giraffe. Um, and then there's having to watch them like an absolute hawk. My son is actually really good with his new baby sister. I thought it would be a lot harder, but the problem is that he's kind of likely to sort of kill her with kindness. So I don't have to worry too much about him, socking her or something like that. But he doesn't quite get at the moment that she can't eat, so he's always trying to like feed her bits of his sandwich, or he's trying to pick her up, usually by her little head. So have to watch him like an absolute hawk at all times. And yeah, they definitely still to this day can't be left in the same room together. But there are pros too. Not to make it all just super negative. So I mean, like I said, getting to do it all again. I mean, it's a blessing and a privilege, of course. But being able to do it, being relaxed, and being able to be a bit present in the moment instead of always worrying, always having to try and look something up, and just trusting my own instincts instead of worrying about how to do it is great, and it's so much more enjoyable this time round. I love watching their relationship. I mean, yeah, siblings is definitely like one of those one of a kind relationships that you have with people. It's not a friendship, it's not just family. It's a weird mix of both, and watching that develop even the little bit they have now is fantastic. James, I thought, would actually I didn't think he would cope as well as he has done with this newest edition, but he has done really well, and he loves playing with her, he loves looking after her, always wants to hold her. She cries and he instantly runs up to me and says, "Mommy, she needs milk," So it's really nice to see that. And of course, she's a girl and James was a boy, and all of his clothes had tractors or dinosaurs on them. And this time we get to buy little dresses, we get to buy little bows for head, which I think are so cute. So I'm loving to get to do that. And the final thing is that I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but James, when I was pregnant, went through a phase of wanting absolutely nothing to do with me. One of my friend's mums is a primary school teacher, and I talked to her about it, and she said it was super common, sort of later stages of pregnancy, that your other children might sort of not be as interested in you or have like, preference for the other parent. And I really found that to be true. He only wanted to be with his dad, which in some ways was a blessing because he didn't want to sit in my lap. He didn't want me to put him to bed. But at the same time, it was kind of hurtful to, not be wanted. And the minute that Alba came out, he was all over me again. So I got my wee boy back, and that was great. So to summarize, it's been ridiculously hard work so far. I absolutely hats off to those parents who are. Oh, I'm going to stop this for a second. Right, I'm back. And she's gone to sleep again, so we're down one co-host. Yeah, it's been ridiculously hard. I'm told at some point in the next 5 to 6 years it will get easier, so that's what I'm holding on to. For anyone about to have their second, then I hope I haven't given you the fear, although I don't know what you do and I don't have any tips. If anyone out there is got any good ideas, any tips they want to share, then please do in the comments. I would love to hear it. I'm sure other people would as well. And to all those mums out there, if you've got one kid, you've got twins, multiples, you've got 3, 4, 5, then yeah, you're doing amazing. And keep doing what you're doing. This isn't easy, but we're all just trying our best. So yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, words of wisdom that they want to share, then please let us know. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you'll come back next week when I'll be talking about baby classes.